Hi everyone, welcome to Algebra with Cola. So here we are, the Algebra Regents on Tuesday. So I wanted to talk about my predictions for the next gen Algebra Regents on Tuesday. So one of the questions I think they're going to have on the part 2, 3, or 4 is some sort of graphing question. You need to be prepared on graphing a linear function, an absolute value function, a quadratic, and then they can throw in something like a quadratic linear system, where you're going to have to graph a quadratic and a straight line on the same coordinate plane, find out where they intersect, and just make sure you read it carefully if they want the points of intersection or just the x values. So definitely you're going to have to be able to graph on Tuesday. Okay, next thing I think they're going to have on the part 2, 3, or 4 is something to do with statistics. So remember, statistics is such a huge unit in our course. So I think they're going to definitely ask you either one of two things: a linear regression question, where they ask you for the linear regression equation, the correlation coefficient, and then explain the correlation coefficient in the context of the problem. Or they're going to ask us to plot and draw a box plot and then find the interquartile range, and then maybe even explain something about standard deviation. That could be on there for sure. Next thing we're going to have to do is you have to be able to factor, specifically factoring completely, which is a 2-step process. So you're going to need to be able to find the GCF first, okay? And then after you find the GCF, you have to factor what is remaining, either using dots or trinomial method. So beware, you're going to have to factor completely. That's my guess. Okay, fourth thing I think they're going to have on there absolutely is something to do with radicals, since radicals was really beefed up in this course this year. So you're going to want to be able to know how to rationalize the denominator, add, subtract, multiply, and divide radicals. And you're going to also be able to, you're going to need to know how to simplify radicals using your perfect squares and whatnot. Okay, the fifth thing you're going to need to be able to do is some sort of graphing story. Okay, so I've seen some where they're like, when is the speed constant? Find the average rate of change between these 2 points. When is the bee moving the fastest? Something like that. And remember, average rate of change means slope. Slope formula can be found on a reference sheet, which is really, really nice. Okay, number 6 that I think is going to be on the part 2, 3, or 4 is some sort of systems of equations, okay? Previously with the Common Core regions, it was the last question. It's definitely going to be on there somewhere. It's either going to be a system of equations and you'll have to solve it algebraically, or system of inequalities, and they're going to make you graph the 2 inequalities and answer some questions about it that way. The 7th thing I think is going to be on there is some sort of quadratic word problem, meaning they tell you like the length is 2 feet, 2 times more than 5 times the width, or something like that, some sort of expression that you're going to have to write for the length and the width. And then you're going to have to calculate the area or the perimeter, or it can be some sort of like rocket question, and you're going to have to use factoring or the quadratic formula to solve for it. Number 8 that I think is going to be on there, I think there's going to be a basic graphing inequalities on there. So no word problems, literally just y is less than 2x plus 5, y is greater than or equal 3x minus 7. And you're going to have to know how to shade above or below, and if it's going to be a dashed or solid line. And that's what I think is going to be on there. So good luck.